Greetings, 2%ers. Yes, I know, we'll discuss that momentarily. But we're going to do something a little different in this video. I've got a car that actually I already diagnosed earlier in the field today, so I already know what's wrong with it. But I did sort of a little unorthodox method, at least for this channel, that I was going to share with you guys. I was actually contacted by the owner this morning while I was on my way to work. He says that the car is stuck dead at his apartment complex. He actually tried changing the battery. Car still wouldn't start. I, of course, am thinking it's a non-cranking, no-start situation. I actually elected to drive my Trans Am today, so all I carry with me in my Trans Am is a very basic tool set, a multimeter, and a test light. And come to find out that it is actually a cranking no start, and being very ill prepared for this, I basically needed to make the diagnosis and was able to do so using nothing more than a test light. So a lot of you guys asked me to do more diagnostics showing how to use the test light. So basically, once this car gets towed in, I'm going to reproduce the steps that I took to make the diagnosis, and we're just strictly going to use the test light just to show how you would do it if that was the situation you were in. Sometimes you have to improvise based on what you have available. Now, before we get started, a couple of matters to take care of. First of all, the pay channel. I've actually got a couple of viewers that are helping me right now with the pay channel. We have opted to go the route of creating a Schrodinger's Box website where we will move all the paid content onto, maybe some other features as well, although I'm not really big into having the forum and all that, but we'll see. But that should be coming within the next couple months. The paid channel will be coming back, and actually I've got 3 or 4 new videos already that will put on the paid channel right as a startup bonus for you guys, so we'll get there. Final order of business is, of course, my friend Oz over at the channel Oz Mechanics was kind enough to send me this lovely shirt and a couple of other goodies, including this little headlight thing here, which actually promptly broke as soon as I assembled it, but we'll figure something out here. But it's got a couple of light modes here, including that one, which my guess is that must be the parts changer mode. Help me load the parts cannon. And then also this little car here. I'm not quite sure what the thing is with that. Maybe there's something with his channel on that. But anyway, as you guys are well aware with my policy, this applied when I was helping Eric O get started when he was on for a year and still only had 300 subscribers and asks for help. As you guys are well aware, I do not do shameless promotions for other channels. So this is as far as it's going to get. Maybe I'll put a little something in the description, but sorry, Oz, that's as far as it's going to go. Now, let me get my test light because that's all we're going to use in this diagnosis. So let me get that right now. All right, there it is. So again, thanks Oz for all the gifts. I hope I don't seem ungrateful by not giving the shameless promotions, but that's just the integrity that I have on this channel. Let's get that tow truck in here with my car and show you how to do this diagnosis with just a test light. Well, as you saw, the tow truck driver had a policy that he does not drop the car off in my garage, much less in my driveway. So that kind of sucked. You would think that my neighbors would be all furious about a tow truck arriving at this hour, but because I do all their car stuff for them, they actually helped to push it up my driveway and get it in my garage. What I'm going to do is run through this diagnosis. Now, of course, I'm going to try to keep from letting the cat out of the bag, or in this case, the cat out of the box. I have not divulged what I identified the problem as, so we'll just walk through the diagnostics and see if you come up with the diagnosis at the same time I did. So my first step is, of course, going to be to reproduce the problem, so let's crank it and see what happens. As you can see, we have cranking no start. So one of the first things I wanted to do is a KOEO prime, see if we've got fuel pump activity. Unfortunately, at the time that we were doing this, it just happened to be trash pickup time, and a big trash truck, actually a couple of them, were right in the vicinity, and it was just too hard to hear. So I figured it would be easier to see if we've just got fuel delivery. So just notice there was a Schrader valve right here, and I originally had planned on using my test light to look for spark, but just use my test light to push down on the nozzle there, and we can see there's no fuel at all coming out, so we have no fuel delivery. Now, one of the things I also want to make sure, could it be we have a problem there because we don't have cam and crank signal? So just took off a spark plug, and remember I actually had some people helping me at the time. And all I'm doing is just taking a grounded test light, and we're going to look for spark. All right, now at this point, of course, your basic bitches are going to be all over me. Check the fuses. You got to check the fuses. Check the fuses. Well, you know, of course we're going to check the fuse, but the thing to remember is I'm doing this rationally and logically. Even if the fuse is blown, I still have to find out why the fuse is blown. So I'm going to do that simultaneously while verifying if the fuse is blown or not. I don't really care if the fuse is blown. If the fuse is blown, I still have to do the test to figure out where my short is, right? So easiest way to do that, take the relay, and I'm just going to check for my control and load feed. So there, right there is a load feed right there. What does that tell me about the fuse? Right there. What does that tell me? The fuse is good. It has to be good right there. This is the fuse, by the way, if you wanted to see, but there's no point in checking that. I just did. The fuse is good. Another thing that could cause it would be checking the control side, and actually I did that even easier. All I did was just keep my finger on the relay to make contact while he turned the key on. I could feel and hear the relay click. What does that tell me about my control side feed and grounds? They have to be good. Otherwise, how did the relay click? So that means we're only down to a few basic possibilities at this point. Either this relay is bad, and even though it's clicking, it's not making load side connection, or we have a problem from here to the fuel pump with the wiring, either with a voltage drop or an open or possibly a short, although that's very unlikely that we would have the short because the fuse would have been blown and we would have lost our power on the load side. And the other possibility is, of course, bad fuel pump. I guess we also could have other possibilities like inertia switch, something like that. But basically, power to the fuel pump must be interrupted at this point, or the fuel pump is bad. Those are really our only possibilities. You notice these relays are all identical, so real easy test. Just simply swap the relays, and if the car doesn't start, we can rule out a relay problem, unless both relays are bad in the same way. Did the swap, car still would not start. I'm pretty much ruling out the relay just on the simple unlikelihood that both relays are bad. And if I wanted to, I could have seen what accessory this is, make sure that it works, and that would have 100% ruled it out. Now at this point, I want to find out whether we've got an electrical problem, either an open, or whether we've got actually a bad fuel pump. And I won't be able to 100% diagnose that, but I can get some pretty good indications. So let's get this relay out. So very simply, connecting my test light to the load side feed. Want to verify that we're connected on there. We are. Going to the other side of the circuit, circuit lights up. What does that tell us? So obviously we have one of two situations. Either we have connection through that fuel pump, or we have a short to ground on this wire. Now, if we had a short to ground on that wire, we would fully expect our fuse to be blown, right? And it is not blown. So most likely explanation by far, that fuel pump just simply is not working. Okay, and one last final test is I'm going to jump the load side here. Jumping the load side, we do not hear, ouch, the wire gets a little bit hot. We don't hear the fuel pump run, and we can also, while doing that, we could also press on this Schrader valve a little bit here. But the fact that this paper clip got a little bit hot, it's indicating that the fuel pump is either stuck or it's just rotating extremely, extremely slow. Remember, as an electric motor runs more slowly, you get higher amperage through it because you don't have the spin. Not enough to blow the fuse, apparently, on this, but let's test that fuel port one more time. All right, actually, maybe you saw it, but just a tiny amount of fuel actually did come out there. So that's indicating there is at least some rotation with that pump. I sure didn't hear it, but I don't know if I caught that on camera, but there was just a tiny amount of fuel that did slightly spill over. Certainly, as much as I've been trying to start the car and running the pump, we would have expected that to spray out considerably more. So at this point, we know almost 100%. This car needs a fuel pump. We've got electrical connection to the fuel pump. We either have a severe voltage drop or we've got a bad fuel pump. Either way, I am very comfortable telling this customer that he needs to prepare that we need a fuel pump and bring it to the garage. So now that we've got it here, let's go ahead and validate that 100%. You know how I love getting under the car and doing these shots, but well, this is obviously a fuel pump connector, and there are a lot of wires here, so I wasn't quite expecting that, so I have no idea which ones are for the fuel pump, but there's a number that look like a couple of possibilities here, so I think rather than get a wiring diagram, what I'm going to do is go up to the front of the car. Let's put a paper clip and jump the load side, and then we'll just stay using the test light since that's our theme and see if we can map out the circuit and find out which of these wires are responsible for our fuel pump. And oh wow, look, I just noticed there's a easily accessible evap container here. Evap system, that would be a good one for the pay channel. Let me just make absolutely certain we're doing the load side here, otherwise this car really won't start right. And that should do it. Alright, so we're going to go hunting for power here. And let's see if that test light's in there. And nope, 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 nope. And well, here's the thing. May look like what the problem is we just don't have a power open here, but we know that that's not the case because my paper clip got hot, unless it was a short circuit, which I don't believe it was because the fuse didn't blow. The more likely situation here is that my test light is not making a good ground connection, so that is going to be the more likely explanation. All right, that didn't work out so well. I will be right back. All right, got my power probe connected to power, so, ow, annoying, there we go, and, yep, so, poor ground. Well, so much for that advice that brake lines usually make good grounds. I'm on a good, clean brake line. So, let's see if we can use this thing. Wonder if that fuel line will make a good ground. Look at that right there. All right, there we go, now we're in business. Okay, let's go hunting again. All right, there we go right there. There's my power right there. So let's see. That is going to be, all right, that matches up to this pink and black wire right there. So there's my power. All right, so now we've got our power wire identified. That is obviously the ground right next to it there. Just want to verify that real quick. So that's going to be, this guy is the power, and then the ground right there. So I don't know if that was in camera or not, but I definitely have my right pins. And let's get onto that ground right there. Okay, now we can put 12 volts to this thing and get this diagnosis over with. So putting 12 volts to it here, and nothing. Absolutely nothing, actually. And actually, I don't know if you heard it, but it just for a second there, and you can actually even see it spark, maybe right there. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera. Let's see if I can dim that light a little bit. You'll actually see it spark. Well, it's going to be hard because my power probe has a light on it too, but it actually sparks. Oh, actually, I just heard the pump run just a little bit there. Let's see here. And all right, well, you can maybe see those sparks. You can hear the pump run just a little bit. And sometimes if you... This is not a really preferred method here, but sometimes if you bang on this tank here, let's see if we can get that pump to start. Sometimes that actually works, believe it or not. Oh, look at that. I don't know if you can hear that, but now the pump is working. Well, kind of working. It doesn't sound very happy. And actually, it's really late at night. I don't want to make too much noise here, so let's try that again. Yeah, the pump is working, but God, it sounds terrible. It sounds kind of grindy. So we are done there. Just that percussion test actually alone verifies that the pump is a problem. So we're done. Need a fuel pump. I just wanted to show one final thing. I've put a fuel pressure gauge on this. Still got it bypassed now with the paper clip. Actually, I guess I could put the relay in, but what I wanted to do is just show you that the most fuel pressure we're able to get out of this thing is about 22 psi static here. That may be enough to possibly run the car. Let's just try it and see what happens. Maybe this car will start now. So let's see. Actually, it's up a couple of psi now. That should be enough to start it. Let's just try it. Yeah, this car won't start. Oh, it almost did a second there. Yeah, if anything, actually, we maybe went up a couple. But let's try one more time. I would think with 20 psi, we could get this car to run. Let's just see. There it goes. Oh, and it died right away. Let's see what our fuel pressure is. And it's still holding at 22. And again, remember, I've got this pump bypassed so that it's running all the time. Maybe we'll have better luck if I put the relay in. So let me put the relay in. Let's give this thing another try. Wow, it wants to start, but just doesn't have enough gas. Well, you can hear it definitely has a different starting pattern than it did earlier. It almost wants to start. Look, we're losing fuel pressure, so I didn't see that when I was in the car, but we've just about tanked on our fuel pressure. All right, well, I don't know what the fuel pressure spec is for this car, but obviously it must be quite a bit higher than what we're able to read with this pump. So normally, of course, I'd like to do the fix and then show the end result where the pump fixed it, but it's not necessary to do. And besides, the parts stores are closed now anyway, and I'll have to wait till tomorrow to do this fuel pump job. So we'll just get this video out now because I've got 3 other cars to do this weekend, but it doesn't matter. It's 100% scientifically conclusive that the fuel pump is bad in this car. So there really is no need to show the final fix. I hope you guys understand that. So anyway, we will catch you again on the next video, and we'll see you guys over on the Quantum Mechanics channel once we get that up and running. Thanks for joining. Hope you found this helpful. We'll see you next time.